Here's Mayor's recap from the Monday, July 13th meetings yesterday that we had. And I phoned Councillor Nychuk, who's the manager of Highwood Distillers here. I phoned him up because I wanted someplace cool to do this video. Michelle and I are tired of being in the office over there. So trying to get out and going to start showing people a little bit more about unique businesses that are in town and that people don't get people to access all the time. So I've been in this room before, and I thought it'd be cool that people, the Highwood Distillers have been here forever, and this is their cask room, barrel room.
Our aging warehouse, yeah.
And I tell you what, it is strong in here. It is full of whiskey, and I'll let you tell everybody what's in it.
Yeah, so I not to speak too much about this other job in my life from being a counselor, but yeah, this is one of our aging cells. In this room is wheat whiskey. We produce wheat whiskey, corn whiskey, rye whiskey. In this room, we have everything from 0 years, stuff that we just distilled and put in a barrel. For it to be Canadian whiskey, it has to sit in a barrel for 3 years before we can put it in a bottle. So that's the minimum requirement for Canadian whiskey. And we have everything in here up to whiskey that we put away in 1980. Now, I wasn't here in 80, but the company's been here since 1974. So we've got some pretty old stuff. This is the experience you get when you come in here.
She's right.
We open the door, we haven't evacuated the evaporate that's in the air, and you get a really good sense of whiskey in this room. So we want to welcome you to Highwood. Thanks for taking the time to come by. And we give the community a little taste of a business that's in High River, and look forward to you going to other places and sharing other environments that are in the community that people don't get to see on a very often basis. So.
Yeah, no telling what kind of shape I'm going to be in by the time we're done this
You'll
thing.
be fine.
It's not, I don't know that I am. I don't do much anymore.
The platform's yours. Welcome.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks, Michael. So there we are. We'll see how this goes. Michelle, if you have to step out, you're more than welcome to, but I'm going to try to toughen this thing out. So, special committee of the whole meeting. So this meeting was brought to us, if you remember back about, a month and a half ago. Harvard Ratepayers Group came to us with a list of things that they wanted to see with reporting on basically finances and how projects are managed and everything else. So honestly, they wanted a motion read at the meeting and for council to vote on it immediately back a month and a half ago, and that is absolutely not how we operate. So we took their request, we took their ask, and we decided let's do a special committee of the whole meeting focused only on this so that we can have staff prepare, because basically everything that they were asking for already exists. It's just we can do a better job of showing those reports and how we're presenting it to the public through our website or other avenues. So, but we wanted to provide the assurance to the group that all this work was happening and it's been in place. Our number one things with the town of High River is that we meet all MGA Alberta government legislative requirements, which we always do. They have their rules and their mandates as to what they make us do and report back to them. Our finances are audited every single year. And so we spent 2 hours yesterday going through this, and staff did an excellent presentation that you're welcome to see. You can watch it online. It was streamed live and it's there if you want to watch the whole thing. While you're bored at work, you can absolutely do that. But at the end of the day, the person that brought this to us, Mr. John Turner, asked him to come up and give us his thoughts on what he saw and what he heard. And he was very confident he was very positive about what he experienced during the presentation. Now, there's another side to the group. When Maureen Moncrief came up to ask questions, who thought something else was going to happen during that meeting. She thought all these reports were going to be handed out and they were all going to be done and everything else. Well, that's not what the meeting was about. So when things like this are brought to council, we don't just jump and start spewing things out there for individuals. We will take the information, we will vet it, and council decides on how best we report this. This is one group that's come to us with these requests, but some things I agree with, some things I don't, and all councillors have a different thing. So we're going to go through this in the next couple of months to decide exactly how we're going to report on these and what improvements we can make. And there are absolutely lots of improvements that we can make to make this information accessible. It all exists. We are in the biggest change that we're in right now is we are changing software systems from an archaic system, financial operating system called Bellamy, that's been running in the town for about 30 years. We are now moving into a new system that provides a lot more flexibility and a lot more ease as to producing financial reports and how we can present them on websites. Bellamy, you couldn't do it. It had to be a team of 5 people deciphering 1,400 different modules of the Bellamy system and then bringing it back into some sort of an Excel thing. You're going to give me water?
I'm going to interrupt just to help you through.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Gets a little raw.
She's wild in here. It's going to be I can breathe now. I'm clear. That's no worries at all. So that's where thanks, Mike. That's where where that meeting went. Like I said, you can watch the whole thing. There's a ton of information as to how it was presented, but watch it and make your own thoughts. The next was the next committee of the whole meeting, which was held at 1 o'clock. Dream Developments, who's the developer out at Montrose, came to us. So for their future phases of Montrose, those of us that have been around here for a long time remember the amount of fill that had to be put into the first phases of Montrose. Same thing has to happen with the next phases that are just to the west of the current housing. And they're looking for a close place to access fill. Now that's the closest place to access fill is across the fence to the south. It's a piece of land that the town owns that's within Foothills County. The town acquired it through all the floodway mitigation stuff, so we own that. There's a quarter section there that we own. And Dream's just looking and trying to see if they could access that for some clay fill. And if they are able to do it, there's a long process in order to do that through that area. If they are able to do it, they would be able to give some royalties back to the town that they would like to see put towards some of our future recreation amenities, primarily ball diamonds and soccer pitches. But because it's within Foothills County, they got to go through a development permit there. There's also Alberta Environment that we have to go through with the designation of the land, and is it ER, and it needs to be turned to MR, blah, blah, blah. Long story, but Clark from Dream was there just to get this conversation going with all of council, and we'll see where that goes in the future. Subdivision permit application. Got to remember which one's which here. So this one is just south of the strip that holds Mr. Mike's, what else is in there? Anytime Fitness, Refresh is all in there. So just to the south of that, Dream would like to put up, it's about 24 lots. It'd be townhouse. There's a certain style of development that they would like to put in there. And there's a laneway and there's a roadway that goes in there. So there's a lot of discussion on, okay, well, who will own the road, who will maintain the road, who owns the pathway, who maintains the pathway. That was a lot of the discussion. It's a nice little development that they've got proposed for going in there. So council went back and forth. Luckily, Clark was there from Dream, who was there to talk a little bit more about this. So that's a little development just going to the south of Refresh. Land use bylaw review, so lots of things. Corey and Michelle came to share with us what they found out through the public engagement session and the feedback they got. And of course, number of stories within these areas through the traditional neighborhood district is what we're looking at. How many stories can you build to? What are the landscaping requirements? What are the parking requirements? All these things that we're getting feedback on from the public. Lots more work to do on that before we do make any decisions on the land use bylaw changes. But again, it's on the committee of the whole meeting at 1 o'clock. Watch it on YouTube. There's a heck of a good discussion between all of us as to where we're at with that land use bylaw review. Variance application. So the 1710 3rd Street Southeast. So here's a problem that we recognized that we have going on, and that's with houses being developed and garage pads. Not the house is fine, but the garage pads are being poured in the wrong locations, not quite with where the development permit said they were going to go. So this one, unfortunately, the builder put the garage pad down and had to move it a little bit, which was a change from their development permit. A new owner purchased the property, didn't know about this. The garage pad's sitting there. They put a garage up. Unfortunately, didn't do it with permits and everything. So they got to rewind that now to get, for whatever reason, they need to show permits, insurance or whatever. But now there's the variance discussion that has to come into play with council, because we've got to, between planning and council, we have to decide whether we're going to grant this variance. If we don't grant the variance, then the whole thing has to come down. And we don't want to put that on. It was a minor little thing as far as the lot goes. But the message has to be out there. We are putting the brakes on this stuff where builders can just put a garage pad down wherever they deem fit and ask for forgiveness later. That's coming to a stop. We ended up, right after this one, we ended up having to do another one. Same sort of issue, other than the building had not been, the garage had not been erected on top of the slab at this time, and a lot of discussion on council as to where we go with this one, and how does it pertain to the one we just kind of allowed grace to move forward. But this one's a little bit different, and we had a little around the table show of hands as to who was supportive and who wasn't, and the majority of council was not supportive of this. It was a 4-3 kind of split. So now that is not a council decision. The planning department is the final decision making on that, because it's just a variance. But council always has to give their feedback. That's why it's brought to us. We gave their feedback, and the majority of council was not in favor of this. So that's the feedback that was given back to the planning department, and they'll make their final decision on it. So so that's the thing. I want to get back out. When you are building, when you're developing in High River, get your permits, do it right, play by the rules. It's easier. There's a reason why the rules and the regulations are in place, and it's to protect the neighbors. It's to protect everybody else around you, that one guy isn't doing something that he should, that he shouldn't be doing, that negatively impacts its neighbors. That's why it's there. So council's working with administration to find different ways that we can put better deterrents in place so that people don't do that anymore. So the whole adage, I've been saying this for 13 years, but the whole thing of, well, just do it and we'll ask for forgiveness later. I've said it for 13 years. Don't do it. We don't like playing those games. And like I said, there's rules and regulations that are in place for a reason. Regular council meeting. Few things at the start. There's some public comments that came forward. But then we went into first thing we did, went into the 2026 rate bylaw review, and this is specific a specific chunk of that bylaw that deals with affordable housing rates. And we haven't raised rates in what, Michael, 5 years?
2019.
2019, okay, so more than 5 years. And it's like a $35 to $55 a month raise. So we had good discussion about that. Some of the concerns, we do have some residents and renters in there that are on AISH programs. Everybody knows that the government of Alberta reduced AISH payments by $200 last year, a couple of years ago now. So, trying to fit how doing that and how doing this, at the end of the day, the town of High River, we still have a responsibility to be able to maintain and operate those properties properly for those people that are in them. So we did approve the rate change that was brought forward by Shelley and Jordan. Operating expenditures, line of credit bylaw. This is housekeeping. It's something we do every year, and we have a $7 million line of credit that we can access. And the reason where it's used is while we're waiting for tax revenue to come in. If we have to have projects continue on and be paying bills while we're waiting for tax revenue to come in, you need that gap funding in there. So it's rarely used to much of anything. Definitely not to $7 million. That would be something extraordinary that would need to be happen to trigger something like that. So that was all housekeeping. We do it every year. 2026 tax recovery public auction sale terms and conditions. This just outlines that when the town is selling these properties, or any property, or if it's a tax sale property, is to the biggest discussion that Councillor Nychuk brought up was, who can and can't bid on some of these properties, and there is a section in there that says councillors cannot bid on it. But we had a great discussion surrounding, okay, is it just the councillor, or can the councillor's spouse bid on that property? Can the councillor's third removed cousin bid on that property? Like, how far do we want to go with this? And good discussion, but because of all the disclosure papers that we have to sign when we are elected into these positions, which for me outlines everybody, my brothers, my mother, my in-laws, like anybody that's attached to me around here, they all have to be listed. Even Grandpa Doug's in there. So it's, all of our stuff is very transparent as to who we're tied to. So we didn't end up changing anything on that because we all felt that the disclosure stuff was already in place that protected the public and protected our own interests as well. So CIBC presentation, this is just a group, Hobson Chahal Poulias advisory group from CIBC Wood Gundy that manages all our investments. They just came to give us an update. You can watch the whole thing on it. It's very, very detailed as to where they're at with not only High River, but where the Alberta economy is, where the country's economy is, and where the world's economy is right now. So lots of information there that you can see where our investments are in a safe place, and they're not in crazy places or anything. So we play that game pretty safe. Aquatics expansion construction update. So I know there's a little bit going around on social media because our comms team put out a thing that there is an extension to the closure. There is a very good reason why that closure is in place and why, and for how long. The reason is that the rafters that are in the old pool, the steel rafters, have a primer on them, and then were painted back in '79. That primer does contain lead, which wouldn't have been a problem if it was stable and it was there, but that because we have to scrape off the old paint to put new paint on it, there was flaking of that red paint. So we put a stop to it. I have mentioned this and talked to it for a couple of months now that this was a possible issue that we might run into. When we did the budget extension financially, it was part of that extra $2.5 million that we approved to the project. So it's all covered financially and everything. Unfortunately, it does add about another month and a half to the project. But at no time will this council sacrifice safety in that facility for our residents and our kids and our grandkids and everybody. So even though there's just very small trace amounts of this stuff, we want to make darn sure that this place is safe and everybody's confident when they go into it. So we are going through and mitigating that problem and getting rid of it and making sure it's all solid so that when we crack the doors of that place, everybody can be proud of it and comfortable in there. And knowing that council didn't screw around and made sure the place was safe for everybody. That is priority number one. So you'll have a heck of a time talking any of us out of that one. But it is what it is. It's going to be fantastic. Another month and a half isn't going to change much of anybody's lives. We got to make sure it's done properly, and that's our goal. Major development permit application. So this is for a big development that's just east of the Co-op gas station. There's 4 big buildings that are slated to go in there. This had come to us a couple months ago at a committee of the whole meeting, and council had some pretty big concerns as to what the facade looked like that was facing 12th Avenue. It didn't look like much. Looked more like the back alley of Mr. Mike's, which we did not want along 12th Avenue. So we sent it back to the developer and said, you got to do better. And they've done that. They put a lot more windows in and made it a lot more inviting and a lot better look from 12th Avenue. This is a major thoroughfare in High River, and it has to look good. We're done with the PV Mart wall along 12th Avenue. That's not allowed in High River anymore. So grateful to work with these guys because we sent it back to them. And they said no problem, and away they went, and they've got a great product. So we approved that DP, and I don't know when construction is slated, but these guys don't screw around, so I'm sure it's probably pretty quick. Okay, so the next one we did was a minor development permit application. This is for a house that's in Montrose, and it's right on a corner that has some utility right-of-ways and different things that are on it. So in accordance with the land use bylaw, there was a couple of small variances that they needed just for it to conform to the land use bylaw. Doesn't impact the neighbors or anything. It's just basically the lot is what it is, and it just had to be done. So we run into that from time to time. If you've been following this along, we do it quite often out in that area for one reason or another. But so that one was approved, all good. Accredited Agency Award, Safety Codes Inspection Services. So this is for the company that does all of our safety codes. So when you have a building permit and you need inspections done, previously for the last, I can't remember how long, but Davis Inspections has been doing it. But it came up to put out to tender, so we did that. Two proponents came back, Davis and Park Enterprises. Few different reasons, but we ended up approving it to go to Park Enterprises and changing how we do that. So that's all done. Council correspondence requiring action. This was just a few things that we supported with High River Performing Arts Foundation for a few different grants they're going after for their facility there. And then, of course, every year I sign a letter of support for the 2026 Heritage Inn Hot Air Balloon Festival. So that's a go again this year. 2 pieces of correspondence, one from the High River Healthcare Foundation. The other one was regarding building data centers in High River. There is a boatload of stuff going on with data centers, especially after the Alberta government and Premier Smith announced the $13 billion, however big, yeah, it is $13 billion, isn't it? Meta data center up in Sturgeon County. And people are concerned, what's going on down here. Lots of people have heard about a data center that's been kind of kicking tires around for the last year or so on a piece of land that's not in High River. Data centers won't be in High River. We don't have enough land. These places are huge, and we don't have enough land that's slated for that kind of an industrial piece. That's why these guys are all hunting around out in the rural areas, which you can have your thoughts on the value of these data centers and everything else. But people in High River are hearing about this one that's been kind of poking around just across the highway and behind John Deere. And they had an open house last year. I went to it. I asked lots of questions. Knew a couple of the guys that were there, and everybody's concerned about water use. Now, this place said that they wouldn't be using any water for cooling. Sorry, but I personally don't believe that at all. I don't think you can do that. Maybe in the winter time in this country, but not in the summer. The other changes that's going on is they like where the location of the power grid and the access to that, but there's also the Alberta government saying, well, we really want you to build your own power plant to power your facility. Well, those power plants take a boatload of water. Maybe the data center doesn't take as much as some people are saying, but damn rights the natural gas power plant definitely does. So, but that being said, there is nothing on the books with Foothills County for that. Yes, they were kicking tires around last year, and Foothills County did make a land use change that would allow for more industrial development on that land, but not specific just for a data center. But there is no development permit on Foothills County books for a data center in this area. So that's where it's at today, but as you can see on social media, these things are blowing up all over the place, and Sturgeon County is one of them. Olds is another one that you see the residents of Old. There's one lady that's doing one hell of a job in being very active on that data center up there. But for High River, we don't have anything close to us right now. So that's where we're at. Thanks very much. Thanks, Michael. I am gunned and I am out of here.